DBOL, Methandrostenolone, steroid profile. DBOL is one of the oldest anabolic steroids. One of the first ones created as a derivative of testosterone. From what I recall, it was loved and cherished by the golden era bodybuilders. Arnold Schwarzenegger, those dudes, they all took DBOL. They loved DBOL. We'll talk about D-ball a little more about it. D- D-ball. I always know when I see somebody in the gym on D-ball, they look like a fucking swollen, blaze orange, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So if that's the look you're looking for, D-ball is the steroid for you. Let's dig into it a little bit more. So D-ball, properties of D-ball. It is a structurally altered form of testosterone. It is from the testosterone tree. Um, the double bond at the carbons 1 and 2 have been modified. This modification reduces the androgenicity. I think I said that right this time. I always fuck that one up. Uh, it has a weaker binding affinity with the androgen receptor than test, but what is interesting is because of the way it acts, it's actually a stronger anabolic, even though it has a weaker binding affinity. It has a modification at the 17th carbon position by the addition of a methyl group. If we know anything about oral steroids, makes it a C17AA anabolic steroid. That modification makes it so it can be processed and ingested orally and used by your body. It also makes it liver toxic. Although D-ball isn't as liver toxic as some other orals, but it's still liver toxic. Um, so the androgenic and anabolic ratings as compared to test, it has a lower androgenic rating, 40 to 60. From what I understand, it was originally created because uh, they wanted to lower was specifically designed for that fact. They wanted to lower the androgenic effects of testosterone, so they made D-ball. Um, it has an anabolic rating of 90 to 210, depending on how your body handles it. So it is potentially a stronger anabolic than testosterone is, weaker androgenic, um, um, than in androgenicity than testosterone. It has very strong estrogenic effects. While it doesn't convert as heavily as testosterone, from what I understand. It converts to a stronger form of estrogen, methyl estradiol, which is significantly stronger than than regular estradiol, which is normally what most AASs what test converts to anyway. Um, and we'll talk about it later, but it really fucked me up as far as estrogenic side effects. Um, it promotes pure lean tissue gain, supposedly. Mild androgenic effects, but they're still there. And here's another interesting thing about it that most people don't know. Chemically, D-ball is almost identical to EQ, Equipoise, Boldenone Unductionate, or something like that. I probably fucked up that ester name. Um, but both were from the test tree and developed by the pharmaceutical company Ciba. And if you look at the molecules, really the only difference is, from what I can tell, is the methylation. Essentially it is just oral equipoise, although it does have some different properties because of the methylation. Equipoise doesn't convert to methyl estradiol. I also presume that the methyl estradiol is why people get bloated and huge on D-ball versus EQ. Anyway, moving on. The effects of D-ball: increased protein synthesis, increased nitrogen retention, strong anabolic action, promotes fast size gain, which I think is just mostly bloat and water from the the methyl estradiol, but that's what I speculate. Um, you know, it'll also make you grow titties. At least it did me. Yeah, I don't know if that's an effect or a side effect. Depends on what depends on what you're desiring from it. Side effects of D-ball. It has some nasty, nasty side effects. At least it did with me. It is strong estrogenic side effects: bloating, gyno, high blood pressure, mild androgenic side effects. So, ladies, this is something to keep in mind. It can cause masculinization in women, and in my experience, that a lot of the UGL Anavar is actually D-ball. So make sure you're testing your Anavar to see if it's actually Anavar when you get it. You might actually be taking D-ball and thus singing baritone in the choir by the end of your your cycle. So just something to keep in mind. It suppresses HDL significantly, suppresses HDL significantly, raises LDL. It's a typo. Um, so it really will fuck your cholesterol, your lipid profile up. Suppresses HTPA significantly in doses as low as 10 milligrams per day. I don't know if it's quite as suppressive as testosterone. I don't think so. Um, so they say mild suppression of natural testosterone production. It's what I've read, but that's not. It just depends. I I don't see that being true. I read that it was something like 70% after 15 milligrams for 6 weeks. So just something to keep in mind. It is C17 alpha alkylated, so it can be liver toxic depending on the duration and doses. Um, the study I saw so that 10 milligrams per day for 8 weeks showed very little to no elevation in liver enzymes. 15 milligrams, however, did raise liver enzymes, so it's just a small increase. Raised liver enzymes. Applications for D-ball. If you want to get big, quick, D-ball is probably will probably make you bigger quicker than anything else, even though it's all just bloat and garbage weight. Um, um, the same thing with size or strength. Sorry, if you want a quick increase in strength, that additional bloat gives you leverage. So I know sometimes power lifters want bloat going into competition, so I could see it being used for powerlifting. I don't know a ton about powerlifting and drug application for powerlifting, but or strongman, so that bloat may be advantageous going into a powerlifting competition. Although D-ball makes me cramp up like a motherfucker, I can't imagine that's good for powerlifting. Great for increases in explosive activity, so also Olympic lifting. I've read that it can be good for Olympic lifting. Once again, I don't know shit about Olympic lifting and what bodybuilding is kind of my wheelhouse. The half-life, it's 3 to 5 hour half-life. So if you want stable levels of it in your blood, you're gonna have to take it multiple times a day, 3, 4 times a day. From what I've seen, most people just use it as a pre-workout, and they take it all before they lift. Cycles and doses. Male dose is a beginner dose, 10 to 15 milligrams per day. You're going to definitely notice it after 10, 15 milligrams a day. Intermediate dose is 15 to 50 milligrams a day. Advanced dose 50 plus. I read that Arnold Schwarzenegger would start off at 10 to 15 and work his way up to 100. They used to do these pyramid cycles back in the 70s where they would ramp up slowly. Um, I don't, who knows if that's true, but that's what I read, that he would stack it with Primobolan or Deca. They didn't take tests back then. There were, I don't think there were anti-estrogens in the 70s. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I recall. Female, don't take it. Although your Anavar that you think's Anavar might really be D-ball, so just consider that. My experience, I have taken it up to as high as 50 milligrams. I haven't used it in decades. I tried it in my 20s. It made me a bloated mess. I needed a bra after I used it because it made my fucking gyno just go bananas. Um, uh, my blood pressure increased by 50 points within a couple weeks of taking 50 milligrams. 50 went up 50. That can't be good for you. Uh, Pumps and cramps were so nasty at times. I would get calf cramps so bad I couldn't even walk on the treadmill. It was so nasty. It did suppress my appetite as well. I don't know if everybody gets that. I would get swollen ankles to the point where if I put socks on, you could see the indentation in my ankles from where my socks, the elastic in my socks, were squeezing. It just, I don't know. I think it's a fucking garbage steroid. I don't know why anybody likes it. Strength, I definitely got strong as fuck, but it all went away when I came off of it. I think that the most of the gains that you get from D-ball are fake. They don't last. They go away. So I don't see any point in taking it unless the only instance where I could see any value for it is maybe at low doses, 10, 15 milligrams pre-workout. If you just want to enhance the pump, it definitely gives you a fucking crazy ass pump. I've never, like, the craziest pumps I've ever gotten from anything have been from D-ball. I could see it being applied in that way. I just would not use it on any days where you're doing anything that's putting stress on your lower back. So squats, deadlifts, you're going to get lower back pumps so fucking bad that you're not going to be able to complete a set. So that defeats the purpose of doing those exercises. Um, as I mentioned, it was loved in the golden era. D-ball and primo, D-ball and deca were just kind of like the standards back in the 70s. Um, but I think they use it because there was a lack of knowledge and better choices back then. I don't really see or hear of any pro bodybuilders using it right now. I mean, maybe there are, but I don't know of any. And there's just way better options. It's just a fucking garbage steroid. It really is. Just take Equipoise if you want the anabolic effect. Um, Equipoise is essentially injectable D-ball without the methylation and the nasty side effects from the methyl estradiol conversion. Just don't even take it. If you want the effects of D-ball without the nasty side effects, take Equipoise. That's my 2 cents. But you know, what do I know? Uh, anyway, thank you for watching my video. Really appreciate it. Feel free to ask questions in the comment section. If there are other videos you want me to record, um, I'd be happy to do so. Please, I'm open for requests. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I am at Paul K. Barnett on Instagram. Uh, Trying to get this off the ground. I've said it a million times. I don't know what my goal is with this, but other than getting good information out there. But anyway, thank you. Have a great day.